passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so Nuoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down in towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start dropping. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. And the Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
They're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still slot chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry.
Good evening, everybody. It's Friday night and it's Formula 4 action here at the Road Racing Centre of the East, Lime Rock Park, based in Lakefield, Connecticut, in the northwest corner of the state, and was owned by the legend Skip Barber from 1984 to April 2021. Welcome along to the fourth round out of 6 for the TSRC F4 Sprint season. My name's Alex Goldschmidt. Dean Biggles will be joining me very, very shortly. Now, this circuit, based around the Appalachian mountain range, is really going to test our drivers because this circuit measures 1.5 miles. It's 4 different variations, but we're going to use it with the West Bend chicane. So everyone's going to have to deal with the top part of the circuit where there is a bit of a jump, let's say. Let's take you through the current standings after 3 exciting rounds. So we're past the halfway point. We're heading towards the business end. So there has been a change in the standings by just 3 points. Josh Millington leads Kieran Sharp by just 3 coming into this 4th round of the season. Luciano Vitvoet, who was a no-show at Summit Point for round 2, took 2 wins on the bounce last time out at Okayama to bring himself into the title hunt. Climax Racing's Tom Davidson, Jack Southfield for TSRC Esports ran at the top 5. Level on points is the latter with Jamie Nuttall. Bobby Moss and Andrew Pike ran at the top 8. Brad Horsnell. Fabian Beervert ran at the top 10 with Matt Acton, Guillaume Hamling, David Long, Stefan Hutter, Johnny Wu in 15th, who actually has a qualifying ban tonight, is currently 15th. Thomas Martin, Freddie Coleman-Evans, Matt Smith, Gareth Ronda, and quite a few other drivers are very much in the mix. There you see David Barnes, Gergely Kunsabo, Cody Cosford, who always jumps in for a chat post-race. In 22nd, Daniel Simons, Liam Giles, Roy Weller, Pedro Silva, who only started at the opening round at Alton Park earlier on this season. And there you see the rest of the drivers, such as Martin Blankensteiner, Marcus Miller, Bias Heiter, Clement Bibliok, Pavel Bogdan, Baz Schilstra, who only joined us at Alton Park, Eric Larson, Patrick Den, John Higgins, Hayden Miller, and Thomas Helmer, rounding out the 37 drivers that have made their way onto the championship standings. And with that in mind, Dean Biggles, hello, buddy. How are you?
Good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm doing fantastic, thank you, as well as everybody out there on the chat. I got the chats to read both of them up. Hello, Robert. Well, a big Dean Biggles fan here. Well, so I'm a big fan of you there, Robert, as well too. A fantastic driver and also commentator that shares the booth as well. As I'm also a fan of you, Alex, as well. And I'm a fan of these drivers putting in a bold and brave attempt at this track, especially with that little jump as well. They're very light vehicles, of course, and these things can go airborne. I wonder if it's going to end up flipping like Mark Webber has, not only in Formula 1, but he also did it in Le Mans too, didn't he?
He did it in Le Mans in 1999 and also around the streets of Valencia, mounting the back of, at the time, Team Caterham's Heikki Kovalainen. There's Luciano Vitvoet, third in the standings as we're underway with our solo qualifying session. The Flying Dutchman in the number 60 is the fastest out there at the moment by a tenth and a bit. We'll make that just over a tenth and a half, 51.840 for the number 60. Then it's Millington, Nuttall, Sharp, Simons, Matt Acton, currently running in P6. He's just returned to pit lane. He's on a 52.5, close to a 52.5 at the moment. Andrew Pike, Martin Blankensteiner, Bobby Moss. Hayden Miller in the number 80 is one of the latest drivers to join the brigade, along with Thomas Helmer in the number 24, who is currently sitting 13th in this qualifying session at the moment, about 1.5 seconds. There is the pretty in pink number 86, Josh Millington, who was very much in the coattails of Luciano Vitvoet last time out 1 week ago at the Okayama International Circuit. As he crosses the line, goes P2 and does improve 3/4 of a tenth between Vitvoet and Millington. Nuttall has very much been there or thereabouts. But also, we did have a couple of post-race penalties last time out, and we actually had the number 98 of Jack Southfield actually getting demoted to 14th in the amended results for race 1 of round 3 last week. And then Johnny Woo definitely didn't have a good start. He actually he snagged the brakes at turn 5 and made major contact with the 351 on the opening lap, and then got a 15-second time penalty. But the problem is Johnny Woo has accumulated 6 penalty points, which means he gets an automatic qualifying ban. So he's going to be starting for the back end of the grid in this opening race. It's 15-minute sprint, then we have a 5-minute warm-up, and then we have a 25-minute feature race. Now, Dean, we're going to see a lot of laps completed tonight.
Yes, we will, and a lot of fun, as you'd mentioned out there, Robert, 100%. I've never seen these cars flip completely up like that. I'm not quite sure it's even in the... Oh, there's your jump for you. And not sure it's even in the physics of it, but we've all heard the announcement, and even with that jump, he did set the fastest sector. Josh is actually putting a challenge to him currently at the moment in the P2. You will see some fantastic liveries. I believe we also have the Ferrari liveries as well, too, as he's just disappeared for a second, but... Yeah, well, the exciting news, of course, that we've all heard that iRacing that we've been waiting for and waiting for and waiting for anticipation is rain participation, isn't it? Participation, rain anticipation. I'm not quite sure. Try to get there.
Precipitation.
Precipitation.
There we go. Precipitation. That's the word of the night when it comes to week 13, which will be happening in the next fortnight or so. But Voit leads with just under 3.5 minutes to go. Air temperature 22.3 degrees Celsius. Track temperature 27.7 degrees Celsius. Not that far on a par to, well, not that far below where you are at the moment, Dean. Obviously, being in Panama, it's absolutely.
I'm hotter than the track temperature. I guarantee you that right now.
By a considerable few degrees. Luciano Voit is on course to go purple once again. And, oh, well, he lost a lot of time in that final sector. He was on course for getting probably a 51.6, but he got in with a 51.845. There's Kieran Sharp, up until the end of last week, was the points leader, but now still holds on to second. We're going to ride on board. Yeah,
give us a hot lap.
So we're now coming through the S's before we head up towards Big Ben. Now, there's a lot of undulation in this course here at Lime Rock Park. And as I said, it's in Connecticut. It is actually in the same state that houses the Titan Towers, WWE. So we're now coming through the uphill section. This is where they're going to get some air at about 160 kilometers an hour. That's about 100 miles an hour, folks, for those in the United Kingdom. Through the West Bend, so you've got a very tight right and left. You can literally nigh on straight line it. You go underneath the bridge, and then through here into diving turn. Then we go on to the iconic Sam Posey Straight, named after former US racing driver and sports broadcast journo who raced in F1 in 71 and 72, made 10 starts at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and was also inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America back in 2016, and is also was brought up not too far from this circuit. Jack Southfield, trying to improve in his qualifying performance at the moment. He's just gone P11. He did set, I think that was a purple sector 3. But just seeing the undulations and the change of lateral sideways momentum. Right, here comes the Fernando Alonso tribute band. Well done, Thomas Helmer. That's the old Mild 7 Renault livery. Kieran Sharp has gone purple in sector 1, and he's gone green in sector 2. Could he be on course to maybe put it on the front row for the first time since the opener at Oldson Park? He's going to come across the line down the Sam Posey Straight. And he improves, but not by much. So still P3 at the moment, as we've got just under 60 seconds of this qualifying session left to go. It is really nip and tuck between the top 3. When you look at it from this perspective, Millington's leading the championship, but Voit is 3rd. Sharp is P2. I think we're going to see some really exciting and very, very spicy racing, as I said last week at Okayama.
Going to put the pressure on the wind's picked up big time where I am. There's a power slide through there, which you have to do. Fight the car almost like a go-kart as he's going to get up to 4th gear, 150 give or take there. That's right, metric system. Get with the program, gentlemen. And he's backed off.
Yeah, not at all surprising, really, because once we hit 10 minutes, that'll be the solo qualifying session done and dusted here at Lime Rock Park. We still have 2 more rounds to go. We've got VIR next week, and then Road Atlanta will be the season finale. But Luciano Voit, by 51 thousandths of a second, takes pole position for race 1 of round 4 of the Sim Racing Collective F4 sprint season. A big shout out to everyone watching on the JP Broadcasting Network and, of course, the TSRC YouTube channels. Luciano Voit, by 0.5 of a second, will start on pole position alongside Josh Millington, Kieran Sharp and Jamie Nuttall. Row 2, Andrew Pike and Bobby Moss. Row 3, Bobby switching from Rothmans Williams to Marlboro Ferrari this time around. Matt Acton and Daniel Simons round out row 4. Bradley Horsnell and Martin Blankensteiner, row 5. Jack Southfield and David Barnes, who's running with a very weird and worrying face on the side of his cockpit, which is his own face on there. They start on row 6. Hayden Miller, Thomas Martin, Gareth Ronda, Matt Smith, David Long, Thomas Helmer, and Johnny Wu brings up the rear of the grid. 19 cars set to get into battle for 15 minutes. So just waiting for the last couple of drivers to ready up, which will include our pole man, Vit Voit, Blankensteiner and Southfield and Helmer yet to do so. Vit Voit's now lined up on the grid. So we will wait for the red lights very shortly to come on. So when the 5 lights go out, we will be underway here at race 1 of round 4 at Lime Rock Park, the Road Racing Centre of the East here in the United States. So Southfield yet to ready up, so we're waiting. It will time out to the point where, and there we go, Southfield now gridded and readied up. So get yourselves ready, because the 5 lights will now start to ignite. Round 4, race 1 of the TSRC F4 sprint season, and the lights are out. We're underway, and a good start from Vit Voit. Millington cuts across the right-hand side to try and keep sharp, but he eventually dummies to the outside through Big Bend, a very sweeping right-hander. Couple of drivers. Oh, well, that's Horsnell round. Straight away, left rear on the grass, and it turned him around very, very quickly indeed. So that is not exactly the way that Bradley Horsnell wanted to start round 4 of the championship, as now they go through into the top part of the circuit, through Big Bend. Now, this is where the jump is going to happen. Keep your eyes on this. They're all going to be 4 wheels in the air. Everyone keeping it straight and narrow at the moment. Through down the back straight into the optional West Bend. So we are running the West Bend layout. Vit Voit got a snap-on oversteer through the right-hander. Now through diving turn onto the Samposi straight to complete lap number 1, and it's a repeat of what we saw at Okayama here, Dean. Vit Voit being chased down by Millington, and they're going to be wheel to wheel into Big Bend going on to lap 2.
Wanted to make a challenge early and mounting it, but the Flying Dutchman has held off. Then for now, you can see those position gainers and losers, of course. Bradley, unfortunately, is the one. David Barnes gone into pit road right now, so I wonder if he copped any damage. But the mounting for the challenge is, well, I was going to say the mountain. That's Mount Panorama. We are mounting their way around this classic track.
Look at the air they're getting. It's just absolutely stupendous to see that. Formula 4 cars, they're pretty light, but, you know, as soon as it catches the wind underneath the front wing, someone had a bit of a lock up there. I think that might have been Southfield going through West Bend through the second part of it, but just seeing the air, it's a bit like Flugplatz at the Nordschleife before they instigated the compulsory 250 clicks speed. As again, well, Millington getting feisty, and he went around the outside of it, going into the approach into Big Bend. Nuttall's just set the fastest lap of the race, and it was like you said at race 2 at Okayama. You were saying, like, in the words of Josh Millington, like channeling your inner Josh there, saying, I do not want to be sitting behind this rear wing. I want to get past him on the next lap, and he got very, very close on that second lap there, the beginning of lap 3, heading into Big Bend. So Vit Voit, it's just starting to catch people out, isn't it?
Somebody has had a big power slide out of the corner. That it could have even been Jamie in P4, because Jamie's actually set the fastest lap on that last lap. So they're starting to bunch up pretty quickly, thick and fast here for our first heat. He's the lift off big time. I think it was Kieran Sharp. He might have had a, yes, that's a penalty. Yep. he's had to be sent back a little bit, and that's frustrating, isn't it? Because he's got to allow a ton of cars all the way through there and battle to a little bit later on. Of course, still plenty of time there, 3 minutes down of 12 minutes to go, really, and Josh still can't get past the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah, looking for 3 on a bounce so far this season. Kieran Sharp did the double back at Alton Park. Millington and Southfield took a win apiece at round 2 at Summit Point, and then it was Vit Voigt who echoed what Kieran Sharp did at the opening round last week at Okayama. But we are now 3.5 minutes through this race, and Vit Voigt keeping far to the outside. Looks like Millington's got a slow down. These track limits are going to catch these drivers out, and if you're not picture perfect, you're not on the apex and you're going off track, that is where everything's going to run the wrong way. Kieran Sharp gets through on Brian Moss, through for 5th place through Big Ben. That was neatly done by the number 23. Pike's about 6/10 of a second up the road from the TSRC number 23 of Sharp. So Pike rounds out the top 4. Southfield, Acton, Simmons and Blankensteiner completes the top 10. And,
oh, there you go. Feels like you're on the roller coaster, doesn't it? Just as you get that drop there and you get a little bit of this like airborne feeling there into your stomach, as Martin just experienced it there at the moment. Can't miss this car. It's like a crash test Formula 4, isn't it?
Well, it's he seems to be running a similar livery to Matt Acton as well, who's a real-life motorsport photographer. And there you see him in the background there as we go to Andrew Pike, being closed on in by Kieran Sharp. So what's more prevalent is the fact that Sharp is going to lose a little bit more of that lead. But in the meantime, Millington, because of that slowdown earlier on, has lost out second to Jamie Nuttall. But in the meantime, this has given Luciano Vit Voigt the opportunity he's needed to get away, as you see a big amount of air sweep underneath the front of the number 23 of Kieran Sharp in 5th.
Lock up.
On board.
He's got him.
Lock up there by Pike.
He might know. They're going to get Will.
Oi, nearly interlocking, going through into diving turn underneath the Haggerty Bridge. And there's Barry Moss in their 2's company. 3's a crowd. Jack Southfield closing on in, and he could get a little bit of a run here. Pike has lost out to Sharp. Moss is looking to the inside of Big Bend. Southfield goes high wide and throws the Hail Mary, and nearly ends up into the back rear wing of Andrew Pike. Now into the S's. Moss still trying to keep that number 5 Nigel Mansell Ferrari tribute band livery going, and Southfield just literally parks it on the outside and says thank you very much. That's 6th.
Number 5 is alive, and that's a Nigel Mansell number 5. Oh, you get tapping on the fence as well too. Some of the drivers were doing that during the practice session. It's very important when you do go over a jump, and it's like anything you do, motocross and stuff like that, you've got to make sure, even on your own bicycle, when you're younger, of course, if you need a bike, point the wheels straight. If you turn them a little bit to the left and to the right, where do you think the steering wheel is going to go? Up the road there. I think there was an overtake. It was. Jamie also thought about getting the overtake there on Josh, putting massive pressure on him right now for the P2 position, as the Flying Dutchman is flying his way up the road there, 2.3.
Yeah, nearly halfway through this opening race, 15 minutes. We have got a 25-minute feature coming up, and that will be decided by the results of race 1 here at round 4. As I said, we've still got 2 rounds to go. Blankenstein behind the likes of Martin, Acton, Miller. They're all in 5 of Barry Moss. Bobby Moss, sorry, Bobby. My apologies there. I've been saying Barry all the way through the early part of the broadcast. Silly me. I should be Bazza. Yeah, Bazza Moss. But Matt Acton really has got the wind beneath his wings, so to speak, and everyone has been doing that. And that's a great move up the inside on Thomas Martin through Big Ben. This could line up the number 10 very, very nicely for the S's. Powers through, and Blankensteiner has got through on Martin, has he? He's got the right-hander through going into Big Bend, and Blankensteiner gets through for P10. Great work by Acton and Blankensteiner. I think Martin was pretty powerless to be able to do anything against it.
Yeah, he's going to get the job there. He's going to be like, you wouldn't do that on Ayrton Senna back in that livery, would you? Not at all. Ayrton Senna wouldn't allow anybody to do that, but Thomas Martin, of course, up 3 positions, still living to see another day. There was a little bit of an accident earlier. Well, there was a few of them. I wanted to try to show you that. I'm not quite sure we'll have time. I'm going to see whether or not Jamie's going to be close enough to do anything about Josh. for now. Every time you go to replay, something happens. But just really quickly, I know this is further back in the field there, but this is Johnny Wu and Matt Smith, I think, and David. This is all the way at the back there. So they've had a come. Oh, that's just lost on his own. And bang, into the side pod. That's not going to hurt. That ain't going to buff off.
That was Matt Smith. That was Matt Smith in the oh dearie me, and that was a very, very second-hand Formula 4 car we just saw then. We ride back on board with Jamie Nuttall as Voigt has got a lead of over 2.7 seconds. There he is going through diving turn onto the Sam Poster straight once again. So 8 and 3/4 minutes elapsed out of the race. And yeah, Voigt is comfortably going to be on his way to a three-peat, so 3 wins in a row for the number 60 World of Sim Racing Flying Dutchman. And yeah, whilst these two are battling, it's just going to allow Voigt to canter away into the distance, whereas Blankenstein is thinking of a move up the inside of Acton. That's for P9, and he's got the job done through the second half of Big Bend. Blankenstein just looked for the opportunity. Acton gave him more than enough breathing room as we ride on board with Nuttall over the crest. Millington sideways in the air and lands it on all 4 wheels. Absolutely brilliant car control from the 86.
God, I'd love to see a Formula 1 car do that, wouldn't it? I mean, that would just be amazing. Somebody going slow up the road there, I believe that's just somebody to allow their lap traffic, as you can see, just up there. But that is lap traffic, of course. That's the leader passing the number 15th place car. I think that's Barnes. Yeah, Barnes is about getting overtaken there, so...
Yeah.
And they've lapped quite a few, and that traffic's going to come into play with these 2 gladiators here, and you wouldn't want to be approaching a lap car as you get into that bump. He's going to move across to the side there and say, yeah, thank you. That's a relief for the drivers.
I think that's very good, a very good idea. Like, if you are slower traffic and you see the leaders coming up on your 6, then the first thing you want to do is get the heck out of Dodge and get out of the way. Is again, Millington just seems to turn the car right as they go up through that top part of the circuit over the big crest, and then it just launches, and it's sort of like self-induced sideways, but he lands it and straightens the car up straight away and points it in the right direction, gets the throttle planted. But I think he's got to slow down. Oh dearie me, I said this was going to play havoc, and this is exactly what Millington did not want. I mean, he's leading by 3 points. He's still ahead of Kieran Sharp, who's 2.6 seconds behind him at the moment, but this is going to bring Voigt very much into the fray, and this will actually give Voigt the provisional championship lead, because it's 65 points for a win in this series, plus also he'll get an additional point for the fastest lap of the race, so that'll put Luciano Voigt on an additional 66 points as Kieran Sharp.
I was going to say, over the lap car, on the jump.
He nearly did like, what was it, Brian O'Connor in the bridge scene in Fast and Furious 2, nearly hit the NOS with both buttons and launched it over the top of the car in front. Yeah, I think it's very shrewd driving by Dave Barnes, who's running the MCL 38 tribute livery. There we see the number 5 of Bobby Moss.
I have to switch back up because Josh is now back on to Jamie after having to lose that position for the slowdown.
Yeah, it seems like Josh has got a much better run in his car, and he's, looking at where Nuttall is at the championship. He's had 2 podiums at the moment, one at Alton Park and one last time out at race 1s respectively for Alton Park and Okayama. So Nuttall is still, I think, within a chance of going for this title, but again, Millington has been the victim of 2 subsequent track limit penalties.
Oh, he's blinking.
Yeah, that's another thing we don't want to see, and that indicates the ping, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, or at least the connection to the server from his end of perspective. But we're looking over the rear wing of Jamie, who's gained 2 positions as well, looking solid for that P. That's the battle for P2, really. Unless the Flying Dutchman does anything wrong, and he's got a clear track, as you can see on the track map, no traffic up the road from him, so he could even afford, if he was a naughty boy, to expand the track limits and still have a slowdown and still should be able to maintain that P1.
Yeah, it looks to be the case. It's going to be a formality because Luciano Voigt, with about 2 minutes to go on the timer here at race 1 of round 4 of the Sim Racing Collective F4 sprint season here at Lime Rock Park at the West Bend Circuit, 4.6 seconds is now the advantage for the number 60. And Millington is trying to get into the slipstream. Vit Voigt, new fastest lap, 51.863 as they go into Big Bend. Someone's had a little bit of a lock-up just in front of them. But yeah, great to see Nuttall being able to fight in the top 3 once again. He's, you know, Alton Park was a good round for him. Summit Point wasn't a great round for him. But now we see Miller and Moss battling away. And Miller, who's one of the newbies.
Oh, this car's going to be on the racing line and the exit. There's going to be big trouble for these drivers if they can manage to navigate through there. Nothing that lap car could do, really. Had nowhere to go. Just wrong place, wrong time. They're going to be going over the jump simultaneously. That's Southfield.
That's Southfield. Southfield. I think Southfield has had a slowdown penalty, and he's way down the order from where we would normally see him. Luciano Vit Voigt comes across the line.
God.
Oh dear, Moss is off the circuit, going down into diving turn underneath the Haggerty Bridge, and he's going to lose out to Blankensteiner as a direct result of that. Millington, in the meantime, has got past Nuttall, and they're swapping positions more times than I've had Sunday hot roast dinners in the last 3 years. But Moss still keeping his nose very much stuck in.
Yep, he put his nose in right there and he got the job done. I think as he got the exit speed there. This is the replay, of course, but Jamie getting the job done. So Jamie in P2. Still, there's plenty of action everywhere else, and I don't know if we have enough time. We might have to switch over to our race leader soon. Oh, they've switched again. Josh has got it. I think it's a slowdown from Jamie. Yes, it is. It's caught him off completely because Karen Chapp's got to steal that place away.
Oh, hang on a minute. Here's Pike. We're going to go on to one more lap because our leader has already crossed the line. So white flag in the air. 15 minutes have elapsed. Luciano Vit Voigt, new fastest lap of the race, 51.815.
Jamie went in pit road.
Oh, that's probably... Oh, he's probably hit the 17X. He's probably hit the 17X. So Jamie Nuttall was on course for at least a P3 as Millington runs wide through into Big Bend. They're all getting a bit sort of haphazard, and Jamie Nuttall returns to the circuit in 13th place. Kieran Sharp on course for another podium this season, but Southfield swarming all over the back of newbie Hayden Miller through into the top part of the circuit. But it's going to be Luciano Vit Voigt, 3 in a row for the Flying Dutchman for World of Sim Racing, and it's going to be a country mile ahead of Millington. Millington again will have second place for the 3rd race in a row, 6.3 seconds. Kieran Sharp will hit the podium again for the... Well, he actually hit a podium last time out in race 2. Andrew Pike, well, that's his second best result of the season. Hayden Miller on debut, 5th place, having started 13th on the grid. Oh, this Brit could be a very, very dark horse in the feature coming up. Matt Acton, well, it's Hayden Miller from Jack Southfield. Blankensteiner in 7th, Moss in 8th, Acton in 9th. Also, Daniel Simmons finished in 10th position. But Luciano Vit Voigt does a number on everyone else again, manages to take complete advantage of the situation. So there is your results. Luciano Vit Voigt picks up not just the 65 points for the race win, but at my last check, he did take the fastest lap of the race of a low 51.8. He finishes 6.3 seconds ahead of Josh Millington, with Kieran Sharp, Andrew Pike, Hayden Miller, our newbie, rounding out the top 5. Jack Southfield, Martin Blankensteiner, Bobby Moss, Matt Acton, and Daniel Simons round out the top 10. Thomas Martin, Jamie Nuttall, Gareth Ronda, Thomas Helmer, and Bradley Horsnell, who had the most unfortunate of spills by touching the grass with the left rear tyre, spinning the 50-80 around. He finishes 15th. David Barnes, Johnny Wu, David Long, and Matt Smith all come across the line with David and Matt 2 laps off of the eventual race winner, Luciano Vit Voigt. Biggles, there was a lot of great racing like we saw in Okayama. We're really getting into that stride now of the racecraft really, really sort of going up level by level as we go to each of these different tracks.
You're absolutely correct. That the handsome Stu said, Karen who? And of course, Billy Bob said before that, good luck to Hayden Miller, who did a fantastic performance, as you'd mentioned as well. But well, the key really, isn't it, is the slowdown penalties. Those penalties themselves are definitely biting the drivers, and they're going to be well aware of that one, aren't they, when it comes into this next heat race?
Yeah, so the 5-minute warm-up is underway. There is still plenty of racing action to come on. Well, we are restreaming at the moment, so we have got, of course, everything being streamed live on the Sim Racing Collective YouTube channel, and also the JPB network as well, JP Broadcasting. There is going to be a lot of racing action coming up. We've got the likes of iFormula League, Super Formula, and Formula 3 this weekend from Interlagos, which is something I'm looking forward to because I'll be on the broadcast for that. And there is also iFormula. IGP Fun Formula 3, as always on a Sunday evening. But of those that want to keep an eye on IRL GT3 racing, of course, the Repco Bathurst 12 Hours, the first round of this year's Intercontinental GT Challenge, powered by Pirelli, kickstarts tomorrow, folks. So if you are in the UK, it's going to be an early start for Super Pole, and then it's going to be a late start for the race, and then it's going to be all the way through the night. But yeah, I think Vit Voigt just we missed him at Summit Point. Obviously, he had other engagements to deal with, such as other competitions. But now we're really seeing that Millington and Sharp are going to have to bring more than their A game to this Flying Dutchman here, Dean, because at the minute, I don't see anyone getting close. I think that's the biggest winning margin we've had so far this season.
He's the Flying Dutchman for a reason, and that's the thing. If he gets off good off the racing line with a good launch, then yeah, that's it. I think he doesn't make mistakes very often. He's a smooth sailing, smooth operator, as Carlos Sainz likes to sing, and that's it. So you may, if you're anybody else, you may see somebody else trying to challenge him, definitely into turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3, and so forth. At least in the first lap, mount a good challenge there. See if you can get ahead, and then bring that, because once he's gone, it's like, the groundhog's chasing a bunny, isn't it, at the Greyhound track? It's goodbye on that one.
It's sort of like MC Hammer, you can't touch this sort of thing.
You can't touch this, yeah.
I had to bring a musical reference in for tonight, and that was the perfect.
My! You had to, didn't you?
I had to. I try. Well, I mean, the thing is, I love my music. I'm a bit of a film buff as well, and there's one particular phrase that I will use, but probably when I'm normally doing karting, because I've got more karting next week. But yeah, there's so much coming up. We've also, once you've tuned into this, you can actually catch up with Season 3, Round 7 of the JPB TCR Euro Sprint Cup, Motor and Aragon. As I said, we've got IFL Super Formula Series for Brazil, Round 4 for Super Formula, tomorrow at 5:15 p.m. UK time, 5:15 p.m. UK time for Formula 3 IFL for Round 5. We've also got the Virtual Sports Car Historic Championship starting tomorrow at 7 p.m. We've also got Race 2 now coming up, folks. So here's your starting grid. Luciano Vit Voigt will start from pole position, and it's a repeat of Race 1. Josh Millington alongside on the front row. Kieran Sharp and Andrew Pike, row 2. Hayden Miller starts on the inside of row 3 alongside the 98 of Jack Southfield. Martin Blankenstein and Bobby Moss. Matt Acton and Daniel Simmons round out the top 10. Thomas Martin and Jamie Nuttall round out row 6 with Gareth Ronda, Thomas Helmer, Bradley Horsnell, David Barnes, Johnny Wu, David Long, and Matt Smith bringing up the rear of the field. We're waiting for Southfield and Blankensteiner to ready up and get to grid. And once they do that, we'll be able to get underway with our 25-minute feature race. And this is where the track limits could come a bit more into prevalence. Okay, everyone's gridded up. 5 lights. Now, start to ignite. Round 4, race 2 is underway. And it's a good start. A lot of wheel spin as Vit Voigt again gets the textbook start. He crosses over to the left-hand side to cut off Millington. Sharp is there with them and nearly gets into the back wing very, very early. Miller already has just got through on Southfield through Big Ben for 4th place. What a move for the number 80, but Southfield straight back at him through into the approach into Big Bend. I don't think as Southfield, I think, has just had an off track. Oh, big pile up. Big pile up on the opening lap. There are cars all over the shop.
Oh, this is huge. This is huge. I wonder if they get a red flag this, or it's just game on.
Yeah, that was big.
Because that's lap 1 too, so it could be just go. But yeah, that's half the field out. That's Spa in Formula 1 back in the 90s, wasn't it?
1998, if I remember correctly, where everyone had to use their T cars, which was basically the Formula 1 vernacular for a third car.
Look at what's in the pit road.
So Nuttall is in the pits, Ronda is in the pits, Miller is in the pits, Blankensteiner, Acton, Simmons. Look at the front of Miller's car.
I know.
Absolutely second-hand. No rear wing, no left-hand side upright. Martin in the pit lane. Oh, there was a lot of carnage in that, and you can now see that as Dean has a sharp intake of breath as he sees Luciano Vitvorit go over the crest and go 4 wheels
breathe
into
in,
the air.
breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Come on.
Like literally 50% of the field were taken out in that first incident.
That is, you can see it clearly. We'll get back to the replay of that one in a minute, but we'll see at the moment whether Josh is going to try to pounce immediately. He does not want to be staring at the 60 machine again. But there's pit road traffic coming out. Wow, what a time for it all to pan out after their accidents. Of course, they're in and out. Wow.
Yeah, Matt Smith got out in front of them. Andrew Pike nearly possibly could have sideswiped them by mistake there. So Matt Smith has got to get out of the way very, very quickly. I think that's Johnny Wu just up ahead. Good awareness there from Matt Smith in the 44 Ferrari tribute band. We've got 2 of them, thanks to Bobby Moss, who now finds himself in P4 as we ride on board with Josh Millington. And again, this is where I think they're probably getting caught out with a lot of the track limits, where they're coming out of the left-hander through the West Bend chicane.
Gotta go for it. Gotta go for it here.
Millington goes for the old Nigel Mansell dummy. He looks to the outside. He's going to be wheel to wheel alongside Vit Voet into Big Bend. Millington goes round the outside. He's going to be a car length ahead. But Vit Voet has the inside lane. Oh no, big moment there. Millington up in the air on 2 wheels. And the 86 has been dropped down the order like a proverbial stone. Well, not that much. I mean, Kieran Sharp was the only car behind him, and Kieran Sharp managed to profit, but Josh Millington, I'm sure, might have some damage after that. It kind of reminds me of Vit Voet's banzai through into Shallow Oils corner back at Alton Park.
This
But
was
it wasn't on that same scale. It wasn't that same scale, I think.
I don't remember that one actually. Sorry.
I don't think you were there for that one.
No.
I think no. Mr. Parfit will.
Well, I mean,
attest to that.
I'm older than James, but I don't remember that particular event. I'm Formula 1 man. I know what I had on television in Australia at the time. We didn't have the internet access. We didn't have all the different racing access that you have today. You can just pull up something and just watch it back anytime you want, really, on YouTube, or of course on the JP Broadcaster Network in the virtual world. We didn't have that luxury, my friend. I had like 4 channels on my television at best.
Yeah, so did I back in the day. A long time ago. I'm talking teletext as well. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, kind of. I want to see if we can get a replay of that one while it cools down a little bit for the Josh going off track. I actually would like to see from his perspective on board. So I will rewind it. James doesn't like it when I rewind it, but sometimes you want to catch the moment right there when you need to see it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm gonna go on board and we'll ride cockpit, and you can kind of, well, not cockpit, of course, that's too hard. That's what drivers do. And you can explain this. So there's contact. He's going to the right.
Yeah.
And then
Voet's up the inside of him, and
boom,
bang, there's the contact. So there was enough racing room between the pair of them, but I'm wondering if Voet might have just opened up the steering, possibly. Because, you know, you want to try and get the shortest route. So you can see here, Voet is trying to just... Yeah, you can see, it's the left rear and right rear that connect. So Millington was trying to close it off, but Voet was trying to just sort of get the car around the corner. And sometimes, in that kind of respect, I'm a bit 50-50 on that one. That might be classed as a racing incident, possibly.
So you want to see the big pile up?
Oh, here we go. Right, okay. So
I know
we're
you
gonna
want to
see
see the big pile up.
Well, it actually happened in
is.
front. It was Southfield, and there is Blankensteiner, and then it just caused like the pinball. It's like the domino rally. So Southfield goes off, loses it, and yeah, that's the number 80. Hayden Miller's got nowhere to go. Goes straight into him. Goes pinballing off to the left. Catches Blankensteiner. Then Acton goes airborne.
Wow.
What on earth happened there? It was like Skittles.
Well, that's like you're up in the mountain of Bathurst, isn't it? There's nowhere to go. Of course, they're coming around there. They're at a million miles an hour. You can't stop these things on a dime, even though they do have fantastic brakes. And then just like that. I wonder if the Flying Dutchman is leading this race. He's even got any radio messages from his team or anybody to say. He's probably looking at going, yeah, half the field's gone in the pit road. I'd imagine that's one place, of course, you don't want to be as a race driver. And that's the reason why qualifying is so important, so that you don't have to get involved in that dilemma.
And also, back it up with the results in race 1, and that's precisely what Luciano Vitvoet has done. He really hasn't put a foot wrong, and this could be the first time when we will actually see one particular driver take the wins in two successive race evenings. There's David Long, and he's up. Well, he's profited.
Yeah, he's profited big
13 places up from the outside of row 9. He's got Bradley Horsnell right on his case, and Bradley Horsnell making amends for what happened to him, bless him, in race 1 when he just dropped the left rear wheel on the grass through the halfway point of Big Bend on lap 1. And again, it's just sort of like, again, we're now close to 7.5 minutes into this race, and Vitvoet is just comfortably getting on with the business at hand. Kieran Sharp is lapping on a mid 52.2. Vitvoet just did a 52 dead. So Kieran needs to up the ante as Bradley Horsnell ahead now of David Long. So there is a change for 5th place on the road. David Barnes, aka DQ Dave, as he was previously known at round 2 at Summit Point because he changed his iRacing ID. He's up 9 places to 7th, and not too far behind him is Jamie Nuttall, who had hit the incident penalty limit of 17x, and he goes flying over the crest. So this could be an opportunity for some of the drivers that didn't have all the luck, as Blankensteiner has...
overtaking over the crest to Southfield here. On the inside of Thomas, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, Thomas Helmer in the Fernando Alonso Renault Mild 7 tribute band, or you could say that was the Arno Trilli tribute band as well.
And this is a lap car, unlapping themselves. That's Thomas, I think. No,
no, that was Hayden. That was Hayden Miller in the number 80. Blankensteiner is the only one that did not come out of the pit lane. So Blankensteiner's race was done and dusted. Acton is back out on track. Miller is out on track, which is seen. Now Jamie Nuttall in the number 14 Crack Racing car, trying to get past Dave Barnes, and this is going to be a bit hairy going with the crest. Airtime. Good old Dukes of Hazzard. There you go.
Yeah.
Where's the General Lee when you need it?
Or it's or the other one I was singing the song to the other day. It's the one with the try to do moonshine across there too. That's one of those movies. I can't remember what that one was, but
oh goodness me, yes, I remember. It's on the tip of my tongue. If I remember, I'll let you know. But Nuttall going wheel to wheel with Barnes down the San Posey Straight, and he locks up going into Big Bend. That's not the way you want to do it there, Jamie, I'm afraid. And a little bit of a touch. It was a bit of a repeat of what he did to Millington back at Okayama in race 2. But Jamie Nuttall has just got to dust himself off and just get back onto brass tacks and look at getting past Dave Barnes at the opportune moment, which won't be here at the crest.
I like it, the crest. Yeah, that's what it feels like for the drivers. It must be insane because you got to remember. Let's go cockpit. This is how they're seeing it. It's easier said than done. There's contact again. Jamie's getting a little nutty right now, isn't he? Trying to get past Mr. Barnes. He might murder me for saying that later on. But come on, Jamie.
well, Dave Barnes has got his elbows well and truly sharpened and out. Yeah, it's about just sort of picking your moments as we're 10 minutes in.
Lock up.
Lock up. Big lock up from Jamie Nuttall. Nearly went into the back of Dave Barnes, and luckily enough, he just went straight on. Thank goodness. Thank God for that.
I think I'll come to the song. It was like, we got a long way to go, and we got to keep on trucking.
Long way to go and a short time to get there.
That's
Smokey
it.
the Bandit.
That's the Smoky Bandit. Thank you very much. And that's exactly what this looks like at the moment there. And really, the bandit, of course, is Jamie. And, well, no, the bandit, the police officer would be Jamie, isn't it? The bandit is David. Take it away.
It'd be Buford Sheriff, Buford T. Justice.
There you go. It's educating all the young people out there, my friend.
Exactly. Burt Reynolds was an absolute legend in that one. You had Big and Little Enos as well. Oh, Jamie does not need to run wide coming out of
that give you
a
off-track warranty, and you don't need those right now.
He definitely does not. He definitely does not indeed need that. He's had more than his fair share of that in race 1. But he's just got to be very, very careful. He doesn't go into the back of Dave Barnes.
Go on the outside. Are you kidding me?
Don't go. This is like nigh on close to being dodging cars, but without actually making contact. It's Jamie Nuttall's severe attempt at trying to get past Dave Barnes, and now he's lost. What is it? 8 cents of a second. But coming into the braking zone here, he's going to be 4/10.
It's a lot quicker going through here, exactly. But you see, that got greedy through the S's. You're not going to do it. I mean, we all know generally you can't. Like, the best thing to do is get as close as you can, follow, and then get the power through the exits. But you can see he's clearly a lot quicker here. I think he thinks he's a lot quicker than David Barnes. At some points he is, but David's also very clever at defending here, which makes you even a better race driver to defend more than just attack. But I think this is where the action zone is, isn't it? Oh, no. There's an action zone that's occurred a little bit further up the road there too, I believe.
Yeah, David Long and Bradley Horsnell battling over 5th place, as someone must have had a bit of a lock-up a bit further ahead or kicked up the dust, as Jamie Nuttall going over the crest once again. This is going to be very, very hairy. Jamie Nuttall gets full airborne there. Now into West Bend. He's going to go round the outside. That is a move and a half. If you pull that off, Jamie Nuttall, move of the evening and move of the season so far on Dave Barnes. Well played.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And that's not... who's the other one? That's not... There's another driver in the mix there, but that is...
No, that's
Let's have a look at this one. View one at the move of the... There it is. Oh.
Just like literally does the M&M round the outside and then nips over the curbing through the left-hander in the chicane. And Dave Barnes had the haymaker thrown his way on board. Look how close it was. And Nuttall just turns it in. He starts to put a bit of pressure on Dave Barnes, and that was the right thing to do. Lines himself up for the left-hander, and then underneath the Haggerty Bridge, he goes into diving turn, and that is Jamie Nuttall up 5 positions from 12th on the grid to 7th. And also just behind him was Matt Acton, actually, in the number 10, who's currently running P15. But Jamie Nuttall, take a bow on that one. That was absolutely epic. Now Jack Southfield is closing in very, very rapidly on the number 27 as they go down the Sam Posey straight. We're over half time in this second race out of round 4 of the Sim Racing Collective F4 Sprint. Jack Southfield nearly ends up in the rear suspension assembly of Dave Barnes in the 27 going through.
Do you think Dave's got a problem here? Do you think he got any of that contact caused a little bit of damage? Because it seems to be he was fighting. He had a lot of power coming out of the corner. He's in trouble. He's in trouble right now. He's definitely had to struggle to fight this one off.
Well, Southfield's just got two wheels on the grass and gone round the outside and then on the crest, and then Dave Barnes straight back at him, and Barnes is going up the inside.
Locks up, can't do it from there. Contact. Oh, I don't know.
Me.
Is David getting a little bit frustrated right now? Almost comes back on the track and collects somebody else. I don't know. That could be a bit of frustration kicked in there, because after that great battle, and he felt, I've lost it there. Felt like he's been chased down by the law, hasn't he? And unfortunately, might be in handcuffs if we keep that up.
And unfortunately, the law won on that one, Dave Barnes. I'm afraid.
Law, right?
Like locks up, turns it in,
that's
then
too...
bang. There's the contact. Left front wheel. Dave spins himself around. Yeah, I think Yeah, it was that sense of desperation from Dave there, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
He thought, well, he locked up. He went, oh, right, I've got to go for it. I've already committed. And there is... I wonder who that was behind him. There's Andrew Pike in the 23. Sorry, the 57 closing in.
This is not a good place to be going 3 into 1. Oh, lucky somebody lifted off.
And he just did a number on Kieran Sharp as well.
Yeah.
So Andrew Pike, I think, has just got himself. Well, that was he actually got a lap back. He got a lap back through that brazen overtake on Kieran, and now they're don't tell me they are TSRC.
Yeah, but they're teammates, but they're not in the same lap.
No, if Andrew was ahead of Kieran, then he would be.
Yeah, but they're not fighting for current position, as you can see on the map. We're watching from Thomas, who did blink a little bit here for the Danish driver, as you can ride on board there with the Renault livery you mentioned there. You want to be doing Fernando Alonso right now. Win 2 championships, my friend.
And not have an incident back at where was it? Fuji?
Oh no.
No.
Scandal.
There was a massive red flag in Japan. And he came round the corner, hit some debris, and then went straight pinballing off the barriers, if I remember correctly. This is the inner F1 geeky historians.
Well, yeah, of course, and you know, it's because the lovely PC Thomas has blinked a little bit again. That's the reason why the cameras will change, unfortunately. But hey, it's not our fault. It's because most of the drivers, as our leader just goes faster. Most of the drivers are all obviously geeky F1 fans. That's why they're sporting these liveries. We were saying this in the green room, weren't we? To the boss man, Kieran Sharp, was like, I think every driver should literally have some sort of Formula One livery. Doesn't matter if it's from the very first days of Formula One to a current livery, but I think that'd be good sporting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, Fernando Alonso had his massive crash at Fuji in 2007 when Kimi Raikkonen took the last driver's title recorded by Scuderia Ferrari. So we're going to now have a look at... this is going to be a helicam. Well...
It's very... Sorry, I apologise for these cameras. They're really horrible sometimes. There's so many trees in here.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Southfield did the right thing, just kept his line. But I think Dave just, as we saw by the lock-up, you know...
Let's go have a look at the race start. You can talk us through this, because if you get a chance to look at the race start, that means that, you know, let's have a look.
Still got some time. Got some time. So you're going to see how things actually go. So it was a very good start off the line by... Now, look, Hayden Miller got a really, really good start, but then you look at who was trying to feed through the middle. Bit of wheel spin from around about the 5th to 6th row. It was 3 wide going down into T1, but Voigt cut across Millington very, very quickly. Sharp was there or thereabouts. And then Hayden Miller's move up the inside really got both our attentions, actually. And I think that was with... I can't remember who that was with. I think it was possibly Andrew Pike or Jack Southfield. And then we then get through the S's and then into Big Bend. Southfield loses it. He goes off track, all 4 wheels, spins around. Hayden Miller's got nowhere to go. He gets tagged from behind, and then that's why he's pinballed. So his wing's already gone. The right-hand side was a mess. Then there was Blankensteiner.
I just want to see how it is going to be for these drivers, of course, at the moment. At the back, they had nowhere to go. Of course, let's have a look at this. We'll go real time, right? So they're going, here we go. Flat pedal to the metal, of course, as you would be in a racing. Going around the corner. All right, let's go. There's battles up the road course, first lap of the race of Heat 2. Keep it going. La, la, la. It's a drive, and then where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? Nowhere. He got T-boned from everywhere.
Well, the complete right-hand side suspension and uprights for Hayden Miller at that point was just gone. Right, Southfield is in the pits.
They're
Boss
out of the
is in the
cars
pits.
too. Yeah. Some of them.
Helmer is in the pits as well. Okay, so at the moment, lap 18, Daniel Simmons was out. Gareth Ronda out on lap 9. Blankensteiner out on the opening lap. There's Vic Voigt, who now has nearly an 8.5 second lead as we are coming towards the conclusion of lap 23. These laps as both myself and Kieran, as Matt Smith comes into the pit lane.
Yeah, they had to come into pit road right now, remember, there's mandatory pit stops, so the top 5 have yet to make their pit stops. You do have David Barnes and P7, and Jamie, you'd have to give it to Jamie. He took that pit stop early, but he's done it. and he's currently sitting in P6. So here comes the Ferrari of Matt Smith. Will he get ahead? No, he won't. He'll have to slot in just behind Miller. Hayden Miller. As DQ Dave has the best livery out there from Mr. Hansen. DQ Dave, right?
Yep, aka Dave Barnes. I didn't
Barnes,
realise that they had to do mandatory pit stops because this will be the first time.
There it is. Here, it does have the best livery. I believe it's, well, it seems to me, it may not be mandatory, but it seems a lot of those drivers are doing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jamie Nuttall was in for a fast repair. So was Thomas Martin, so was Johnny Wu. So
yeah.
Bobby Moss has spent the least time in the pits. Jack Southfield has, after that incident with DQ Dave Barnes, or Yeet Barnes, as I might need to call him after that incident, has been in the pits for 2 minutes. Andrew Pike has been in there for 2.5 minutes. Matt Smith currently in one of the 2 Ferrari tribute bands here tonight, currently running P13. Oh, I mean, like,
I know what you
mean. The funny thing is that, like, say, in my travels in karting, I've seen people where what was it? I don't remember. There was a young driver in karting who actually had his helmet wrapped like King T'Challa from Black Panther.
So you're losing most of the people out in that one. Even I'm struggling to remember that.
Well, if anyone might remember Black Panther from the Marvel movies, from the MCU, I think one guy tried to do an Iron Man tribute livery on a race helmet. Didn't quite work out because the fire engine red and the gold didn't really sort of suit the race suit that he was sporting at the time. But we ride on board with Luciano Vitvoet, just over 3 minutes away.
Yeah, talk us through how this is feeling right now. As he's got a lot of traffic up the road, as you can see. He's about to come up and lap. That's Matt, I think, in P11, if I'm not mistaken. So how cool, calm, and collective is the Flying Dutchman here?
He's been pretty cool and calm and collected so far, as we now will see him going over the crest. Full airborne for the number 60. Yeah, I think he won't reach Matt Acton until we probably get towards turn 1 at Big Bend. And there is Jamie Nuttall, who's recovered to 6th place. He's closing in on David Long for 5th.
Here we go.
Long is just keeping nice and tight to the inside, letting the car run out. And this is where you sort of sometimes open up the steering a little bit, just to allow to carry the momentum through. Slight bit of smoke coming from the left front of Jamie Nuttall there, through the second part of the S's, as they're coming through Big Bend as we speak. And the track temperature hasn't really increased. The air temperature has, but Jamie Nuttall just trying to...
In where I'm broadcasting from right now, it's
No,
down to about 106
the air and the
degrees.
track temperature on the circuit. Okay. Steady there, Bingles. But yeah, I mean, Jamie's just trying to put David under quite a bit of pressure here, as they're going to go through diving turn. And now Vitvoet's already, 75% of the way through lap 27, and he's just coming through the final corner now. Jamie Nuttall pulls to the left-hand side of David Long on the start-finish straight, and, well, I think David Long didn't really fight that because he knew that Nuttall would have the carry of momentum, saw him switch to the outside, and that's Jamie Nuttall through to 5th position. And the funny thing is, I'm going to be completely truthful here, Dean, is that Luciano Vitvoet is not that far behind them. He's a few cars back, but I think after this one, we're probably going to have maybe a lap to go, as they've just come over the crest, down into West Bend, and David Long...
and the blinking
that was,
again.
Yeah, that was Thomas Helmer again. So, yeah, we're going to go on to the final lap very, very shortly, as Luciano Vitvoet makes his way out of West Bend. It's going to be a total of 29 laps. I said to Kieran Sharp before you joined in the chat in the green room that it was going to be between 25 and 30 laps. So on to the 29th and final lap, and it's going to be a convincing night in the office here for Luciano Vitvoet here at Lime Rock Park, at the West Bend variation of the Road Racing Centre of the East. He's done an absolutely sterling job. The gap was 6.3 seconds at the end of race 1. He's going to be very, very close to doubling that very, very easily, but time is, as they say, time waits for no one.
But you see, the problem is when something happens up the road, he's going to get past him. And that
was Bobby Moss, I think, went off and hit the wall. But it's going to be 2 wins for 2 successive race nights as out of the final corner, Luciano Witvoet, unchallenged, unassailable and dominant once again. And the number 60 from the Netherlands, the Flying Dutchman, will win. But by how much is the key point, because Kieran Sharp will take his best results since his opening 2 races at Oulton Park by 10.9 seconds. Third goes the way of Josh Millington in the 86. There's Bradley Horsnell, down and out in race 1, but race 2 managed to weather his way through the madness that occurred through the S's and into Big Bend on the opening lap of this 25-minute feature. Horsnell out of the final corner, and he will take a welcome 4th placed finish in the number 58. Jamie Nuttall, race 1, incident-related drive-through penalty, and this time he takes P5 ahead of David Long. David Barnes, despite the incident with Jack Southfield early doors, well, in the midway part of the race, finishes 7th. Thomas Martin will take 8th, ahead of Johnny Wu. Matt Acton rounds out the top 10. Bobby Moss, Hayden Miller, Matt Smith, Thomas Helmer ran at the top 14. And before the end of the race, we lost Jack Southfield on lap 21, Andrew Pike on lap 20, Daniel Simmons on lap 18, Gareth Ronda on lap 9, and Martin Blankensteiner was the biggest casualty on the opening lap. But there is your double race evening winner.
Give us a wave.
Yeah, come on, Luciano, give us a virtual wave.
Yeah. It's all right.
But what can you say about the Flying Dutchman? I'm going to run out of superlatives by the end of the season, to be honest with you, Dean.
That was a grand word on that one. Superlatives, did you say?
Superlatives.
Superlatives. You see, that's the thing. I'm a straight education, my friend. You're educated in a proper country. Let's go over and look at the proper results, of course. That's Heat 1. But Heat 2, well, exciting race. Go over that one for us, please.
So Luciano Witvoet takes a double win again for the 2nd race week in a row. And also, that's a maximum score. That is 132 points going the way of Luciano Witvoet. Kieran Sharp will be happy that he's actually beaten Josh Millington on the road this time. 2nd and 3rd, respectively. Bradley Horsnell, 4th. Jamie Nuttall, 5th. David Long, David Barnes, Thomas Martin, Johnny Wu, who despite having a qualifying ban, finishes 9th in that race, finished 17th in race 1. Matt Acton completes the top 10. Another good result for the number 10 car. He's been very consistent. He's been in the top 10 for most of the season so far. Bobby Moss, Hayden Miller, Matt Smith, Thomas Helmer, Jack Southfield, Andrew Pike, Daniel Simmons, and Gareth Ronda and Martin Blankensteiner with the quintet at the bottom of the field. That's the last 5 drivers, folks. Not making it to the end of the race, but wow, what an evening here at Lime Rock Park here, Dean. I mean, it just goes to show we are going to wait to see if we are going to have any driver interviews post this race. Hopefully, at some point, we will get Luciano Witvoet in the booth with us. But
yeah, let's switch over there, right?
Yeah, let's switch over in there and have a little bit of a chin wag whilst we wait for some drivers. Right, okay. Now having switched over, we are. You know what? Let's bring in the man who lost his championship lead after Okayama, but he is very much one we need to speak to. Let's see if we can bring in. Let's bring in Kieran Sharp into the room. Kieran, good evening, buddy.
Good evening.
How leery was it going over that big bump at the top of the circuit? Because there was one point where I just went and they're going over the crest, literally all 4 wheels in the air.
What's so bad on your own, but following someone, you could get some good airtime.
I mean, a pretty solid and consistent run this evening. P3 in race 2. P2 in this race, obviously finishing quite a long way back from the man who's really sort of been the talking point of the last 2 rounds, Luciano Witvoet. I did say earlier on in the broadcast that you and Josh would have to bring more than your A game. Luciano just was comfortably away, qualified on pole, kept out of trouble. It's one of those things where you knew that you were going to lose your lead after Okayama, which was proof in the pudding. But then Luciano just goes and doubles up on everything, and then just goes in and puts in a perfect score for tonight. I mean, it must be a sort of a motivational spur for you to sort of like go, right, okay, I've got VIR and I've got Road Atlanta to go. Can I beat him out on track?
Yeah, it's going to take a lot to match him. He seems to be just really good in one sector here. That the final sector, he was absolutely, he had it nailed. Like the exit for the final chicane. A lot of us were just inconsistent, getting slowdowns. Me and Josh had a couple in first race, and he had it nailed.
Funny enough, funny enough. Sorry to cut across you there. We've seen quite a lot more. Thank you very much, Hayden Miller, our newbie, who I have to say has done a really, really good job in race one. So this is what it's like going over the crest. Well, Dean was giving me plenty of halo cams or airbox cams to see it, but you know, we still got 2 rounds of the championship to go. We've still got VIR. We've still got Road Atlanta. There's every possibility that the title is going to swing in the direction of one person. And I think we've seen the skill level of the drivers as they've adapted to F4s on iRacing has gone up levels by levels. But obviously the big talking point was the incident that happened behind you, which was Jack Southfield going wide and then causing a big old pile-up. Dean and myself equated it to like Spa-Francorchamps, Formula 1 1998.
Yeah, that was big.
That was huge. But I think still having a fairly decent grid and still having great competitive action out there.
Yeah, it's good to see. Even after that impressive crash in race 2, everyone, immediately went into the pits, and they all went out to try and go at it again and fight over the last places.
Oh, look at your teammate sliding. Yeah. That was the one that caused it. We're looking over your rear wing right now, and that was it. He blocked the track. Well, of course, he had nothing else to do with it, and bingo, nowhere else. We looked at some of those drivers behind you. At that point, I was almost like half a field out. Would that be a red flag situation? But of course, it's not the case. Of course, it's the lucky dog. Yeah, got to get in the right place at the right time, isn't it, Karen? But
yeah, very lucky to
no T cars, as what Alex was talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, Kieran, we still, as I said, what are your thoughts going into VIR next week for the penultimate round? Do you think that you've got the opportunity to fire a warning shot over the nose cone of Luciano Voit and Josh Millington going into the next round of the season?
It's I think I've stand a good chance against Josh if I can keep it tidy. Luciano gonna have to pull something else out, but the next 2 tracks are very different to what we've been to so far this season. They're much more longer. We've got some massive straights coming up at VIR, especially the back straight, and that's gonna probably shake things up if people stay close. You could see a good few changes for the lead.
My final question to you, though, Kieran, before to summarize it all up as well too. I think the only way you're going to beat him is to out-qualify him. Get up the road there and just get the job done.
Yeah, can be done. Managed to do it Autumn, so I have to try and do it again.
Kieran, thanks very much for jumping in with us, mate. And as always, it's great to call the action here in the TSRC F4 Sprint season. Really looking forward to the next 2 rounds, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, catch you guys later as well.
Right, okay. So Kieran being the only interviewee, I have to give a shout out to Hayden Miller, who's actually DM'd me on Discord. Shout out to one of our 2 newcomers alongside Thomas Helmer, who brought the Fernando Alonso or Jarno Trulli or Giancarlo Fisichella tribute band. Hayden is only 14, and he only got back at 6:30, so had no practice. P5, not bad. I'm really excited to see what this youngster can do over the next 2 weeks if he gets a little bit of practice in.
He gets a tyre on his car as well too. Look at him at the pit road, but that was early.
Oh dear, he's going to rib you for that later. He's going to rib you for that later when he watches the stream back. But
sorry, that was the only cameras I had at the time. There, go ahead, Alex.
But there are your results, which we've already gone through. Of course, round 5 next week, so next Friday at 8 p.m. UK time here on both the JP Broadcasting Network and the Sim Racing Collective YouTube channel. Hayden's just said to me, have been watching all race on the second monitor, laugh out loud. I've heard everything. Dean, I did warn you.
Well, you have to tune in for the rest of it, don't you, if you want to hear more?
Exactly. So if you are still up for some sim racing action on the JP Broadcasting Network, head over to this stream for the JPB TCR Euro Sprint Cup Season 3 Round 7 live from Motorland Aragon. We've got the iFormula League Super Formula Series from the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache tomorrow at 5:15 UK time. It's round 4 at Brazil. Then at 7 p.m, we've also got the Virtual Sports Car Championship Historic from 64, the 2 hours of Daytona. Then we also have a new addition to the JP Broadcasting Network, the OGRL Coffee Cup Season 1, Round 1 at the iconic Spa-Francorchamps. That's going to be GT3 action. IFL Formula 3 live at Brazil, Round 5 at 5:15 p.m. on Sunday. Also, pole position racing, F1 2023, Round 5, Spanish Grand Prix at 7 p.m. 9:20 p.m. We've then got IGP Fun, Formula 3 Season 1, 2023-2024, Round 8 at Circuit Zandvoort in the Netherlands. He's been Dean Biggles. My name's Alex Goldschmidt. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next Friday night for more TSRC F4 Sprint action. Good evening.